Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. This is the new video on EC2. So in previous video we have the idea on introduction of EC2. Now in this video we are going to perform practical scenarios like introduce EC2 dashboard, what are the different options available with the dashboards. So and navigate to EC2 console. So this is the default dashboard for EC2. If you want to open the EC2 service, you just type EC2 virtual servers on cloud. So you will be directly redirect to this dashboard. So this is the default dashboard for the EC2. Sometime by changing in UI, Amazon changes this dashboard. So you might find a different or little bit difference in dashboard what you seen in this video. So we can just go through with this dashboard. So the right hand moment you will get all the options for the EC2 service, which we have to discuss on the videos in upcoming videos. This is the search bar. This is the CLI part. You can run that commands directly, like we have option on Azure CLI. They take little bit options. Then notifications, if any notification relevant to your account or any particularly region, you can have these options in this notification bar. You can have support center, expert help, repost, document, all the help documentation part you will get. Also you can create a ticket on the support center. If you want to change the language browser, you can, like visual mode, dark, and browser like dark mode, light mode, and browser default. This is the region selection part. As we already discussed on the prior video, whatever the target audience or your users for the infrastructure, you need to select region according to your requirement. There are the number of regions available with the EC2. 11 regions are not being enabled for this account, so simply you can click and enable the regions, enable additional regions or zones. You can create or enable it, like US East Atlanta, manage and enable it. Okay, so you can enable the additional region. Also some of the regions are declarative for the defense team. So which regions we are not, as an user we cannot see, but there are certain regions which are reserved for the Department of Defense. And this is your account details, account ID, account organization, service quotas, etc. So these are the resources in instance. All the things are being like displayed in total numbers. Also, if you want a region with a global view, because for example currently I am on North Virginia, US East 1. If you want to see any instance or setup on the global region, you can have global view. There are 17 regions enabled. It fetch the instance from the each region. So you can find a summary. If you are new with your AWS account and you don't have any idea that the instance is created, the existing instance is created under which region, you can find from this. Now let me just scroll down some more options. service health, the service health of the AWS health. Sometime what happened due to maintenance, AWS provide you the upcoming event, but if you didn't get the intimation email or message, then you can find if there is an issue with existing region or not. So you can have the AWS health dashboard. No scheduled maintenance on the North Virginia. So this is the default dashboard. So let me launch one instance. The first instance, as we have already seen some of the instance launch on the VPC practical. So let me start again. So this is the instances list. I can see there are 2 instances, but it's in terminated set. So after a few moments it will automatically terminate it or remove from this list. Now I'm just going to click on the launch instances. So launch instances create one like options where we can just create a new instance. The name of the instance, let's say my first instance. Here we have the tag, name and tag. Tag is very important when you working as a professional DevOps or the cloud engineer or any of the, and you are responsible for the create the new instance. The name is why name is important, because using name you have idea why this instance being created and what is the use of this. As we already discussed on the previous video about the AMI. So if I click on browse more AMI, there are quick start total 47 AMIs. My AMI, if I created any image, which we are going to create on the future videos. Marketplace, as I mentioned, the marketplace and the community, some of the AMIs being community. If here there are filters, free tier only. If I click on free tier, some of the paid or some of the image which are not covered under the free tier option, we just remove that. All Linux, Unix, you can just filter that. All Windows, you will get Windows only. Windows Server 22, Core 19, Base, Core 16, and some of the images with like Visual Studio Enterprise tree setup configured AMI with my Microsoft SQL Server. So these are the options which comes with the AMI filter, like ARM, x86, 64 x86, Mac and Mac ARM. These are the platform or architecture distributed. So let me cancel and navigate to launch instance again. So let me select one. Amazon also provides its a pre-configured Linux with Amazon under the tag called Amazon Linux 23. So let me select Ubuntu. Ubuntu is one of the open source distributions and one of the vast usage in terms of the current scenario of the infrastructure. So there are options for 22, 20, 20 with SQL Server, with Ubuntu Pro. There are numerous number of the options in under Ubuntu as well. Now let me select the 22. If I select the 22, let me brief about the AMI, or we can discuss few points on the AMI. I am under North Virginia, or else we can say US East 1. Under US East 1, AMI is Ubuntu 22. Here we can see some ID called AMI ID. This AMI ID is never repeated with any other region with the same Ubuntu server. If I change the region, it should be different one. Okay, so when you perform any automation or anything, or when you try to perform this practical by using this video, you might get this different because the AMI IDs differ from each region. The architecture is 64. I'm not going to use ARM. Now we come to the instance type. As we have the brief discussion on the prior video that we, according to our requirement, we need to select the instance type. T2 Nano, 1 GB, 0.5 GB of memory, 1 CPU. If you have the free tier account, you are only eligible for T2. But that doesn't make you can't create the additional instance type. You can, but you have to pay on that particular way. Each instance type having the on-demand RHL price, Windows price, user price and Linux price. You can see in each of the options. There are numerous number of platforms. If I need to compare. I'm just click on the compare instance type. There are so many instances. You can see the number of pages around 8, 6. There are lots of pages. Total 16 pages are being total, and each pages contain more than 10 to 15 types. So total there are 761 instance type available with this. So let me cancel it. So according to your requirement, you need to select if it is CPU oriented, C type, memory oriented, M and R type. If it is graphics oriented, then G type. You can, but in this scenario we are using T2 micro. Now we comes with the key pair. When we access the instance, you require the credential, or we can say the authentication part. To connect the instance in Amazon, we require a key pair. So let me create a new key pair. Here we do have options RSA and ED. So in general term we use RSA. Let me name of the RSA my first key. There are two options, PEM and PPK, private key format. As we know, there are two options, public key and private key. Private is similar to we need to store in local system, and public key is already present on the server. So whenever you create a new instance or with similar private key, the private key is automatically associated with that instance. Now there are two options, PEM and PPK. If you have the OpenSSH, or we can say the Linux or distribution on client machine, you can use PEM. And if you have Windows with having PuTTY, you can use PPK. As I'm using the Windows server, Windows machine as a client, then I use PPK. So you can convert PPK to PEM and PEM to PPK. But for this scenario, I'm using PPK as my machine is Windows. So here you can see my key is downloaded and associated with this instance. We have seen this network setting in VPC, but in this scenario we use the default VPC. Never try to delete your default VPC with which comes with you or with account. If you remove it, you need to raise a ticket in Amazon to create the default VPC. Let me create a security group for default SSH. As it is the Ubuntu based operating system, automatically SSH is there. If it is Windows one, that should RDP rule. From where I need to connect this SSH? Anywhere, that means 0000. Custom, you can define your IP address, and my IP, that means it detects a public IP address on my local machine and automatically it take a result. So let me choose my IP. protocol or port number like SSH, it should be accessible only from the limited IP address, because it's a little bit risky to open for all. Storage, it consider as a root volume, not the additional volumes. So by default, Linux requires minimum 8 GB storage, so default is comes with it. If you want to add new, you can, like additionally 20 GB, I can have option. And these are the option for the disk types. We'll discuss on the storage, but let me brief about. These are the storage type: GP3, GP2, IO1, IO2. According to storage, it's having the input-output storage speed. So how much data disk will write and read operation perform, it depend on the storage type. If we compare with the classic version, we have the SATA, ID, SCSI. These are the disk. These are the disk type we can consider. Also, the new term called SSD is introduced. So when we require a fast operation in terms of the operating system boot type, we have to SSD, and now maximum infrastructure is having the SSD. SSD also having the multiple options, GP3, GP2, this IO1, IO2. We'll discuss the input output type in brief in the next upcoming videos. Let me remove and let me just get with the only one instance, one storage, and launch instance. You can have the total number. I default select with 1. If you select 2, 3, 4, 5, the same instance or type, we using same instance type, you can create multiple instances. So here you can see my first instance, launch status is pending. Here you can see the name, instance ID. Again, as far as AMI ID concerned, instance ID is also unique one for your account. State is running. Instance at T2 micro. Status health being still in inner slice. Status health is kind of a monitoring tool which comes with your instance. Whenever the instance is being launched, one agent of AWS will set up in your local machine. Using that agent, we can monitor whether system is under a normal state or any problem occurred, like CPU storage or memory or any activity. You can add additional alarms. We'll have separate videos on the alarms. We have set up availability zone called US East 1A. Public IP DNS is this one. Public IP, as we use the default VPC and with public IP address. It is not elastic one. If I stop and start again, this elastic IP would, the public IP address would be changed. If you want that this IP address won't be changed, you need to associate elastic IP address. Currently monitoring is disabled. Monitoring is enabled for the default options. If you want additional monitoring with having additional extra pay, then you can enable the additional monitoring. Security group name and key name. So from this and launch time. So from this wizard, you can have all the idea about the instance. There are options called details, security, networking, storage, status check, monitoring and type. In details, you have all the options. So let me copy this key, open the putty. As I use the Ubuntu, default username will be Ubuntu. Now how it identifies that your default username is the Ubuntu or root or administrator. Let me click on the instance and click on connect. Here option called SSH-I as I use first key, Ubuntu is a default user. Also, if you navigate to EC2 instance type, you have option of username. So from that you can get the default user. If you don't have idea that which is the default user, you can. So as I whitelisted my IP, here you can see there is error called no supported authentication mode method available. I didn't select any of the private key, so that is why that shows an error. So let me again Ubuntu, my IP address. To attach the the key, I need to navigate to key auth and my first name. So this is the connections. Let me just appearance, so you guys have more idea. So this is my operating system. Let me validate whether there is command called lsp release -a. It's Ubuntu 22. Let me check the memory free -m. Sorry, there are 1 GB, 949, it's equivalent to 1 GB, and LS CPU. The 1 core CPU, Intel, this is the CPU type. So yes, this is a default way to set up the Linux installation. Now if you upgrade the existing instance, there are few terminology. If you want to change the instance type from T2 micro to T2 medium, need to stop and start instance. Like we need to stop the instance, we need to change the instance type and start again. But if you want to add additional disk or increase the existing disk, you don't require any downtime. You can attach disk. So that thing will will explain on the upcoming videos as well. So this is the first video of the EC2 instance, default instance with Linux. Now next video will explain on the Windows one and few on the disk part as well. So thank you very much.